Good day, my wonderful people. Once again, you are all welcome to God Gift FS Education. On today's episode, we are going to treat on the chart diagram on the screen. The chart diagram below shows a complete smart money concept, which is known as SMC, and also a price action model. These are all cloned in this one picture. This picture is little, but it is mighty. Yeah, to everyone who already know and can define this chart diagram, I'm sure that you already know what is in the diagram. But for us who don't know much about the diagram, it is plenty. So on this chart diagram has liquidity sweep, market structure, which is known as MSS, FVG entry, and liquidity target. The core idea of this lesson is to let you know, anyone who is hearing my voice, that the market does not move randomly. The market always follows a cycle. It is not something you can just come into the market and start to buy the market because you saw a green or blue candles were dishing out on the uptrend, going up. You say, okay, the market is buying, you enter buy, you pick buy. No. It's not something you just come and see that the candles are going down. The market is dishing out red candles or yellow candles, depend on the color you set your chart. And you start to pick sell immediately because you see that the market is going, is selling. No, the market does not work like that. The market does not move randomly. This is what you need to know. Before you see the market going selling, you open your chart and see the market is selling. Note that something is pursuing the market. The market is after something. You might be very unlucky to join the market immediately. You just open it. Let's just assume the market is selling. You open your market because the market is selling. You start to sell. You might be very unlucky not knowing that the market has gotten to its last destination. Not knowing that the institutionals are done with the distribution that you just saw. Because the market moves from zone to zone, from one key level to another. Once a key level is broken, the next target is another key level. Once this particular key level is broken, the next target is another key level. And you must also know that not all key levels works in the market. Not all key levels work what it. There are key levels, but there are significant key levels. Maybe on our next chart, we'll talk about key levels. Yeah, we'll talk about zones. You understand me? Yeah, how to mark zones and how to identify significant key levels and non-significant key levels, just a normal key level. So the core idea of this lesson is to let you know that the market does not move randomly. The market follows a cycle. On this picture below, we see a liquidity, a manipulation, a structure shift, expansion, imbalance, and entry. Depending on how you want to interpret the market, the language you want to use. There are many, will I say, languages. There are many words. There are many vocabularies that people use to interpret the market. Depending on any language you like to use, any pidgin, broken English, anyone you want, how you want to simplify the market on your own understanding, you can use it. It is just for your own good. You understand me? So let's move to step one. On the step one, we are going to follow the upside. We are going to identify liquidity. First, we see what I marked there, PDH. And on the downside, you will also see the same color that I used to mark the horizontal line, which is written PDH and PDL. Now, the PDH means a previous day high, and the PDL means a previous day low. Now, whenever a new day comes in, then let's just say a London section begins, the market always aim the market always aim the previous day high or the previous day low, Asian high or Asian low, to sweep it, take it out, and continue on its normal direction, because the market cannot move on its direction without taking out liquidity, because liquidity is the real concept of the market. Liquidity is what the market needs to stay alive. And who are those liquidities? What are those liquidities? That liquidity is me and you. That liquidity, it is me and you. We are that liquidity. Until we understand the market, that is only when we will stop being that liquidity. But the fact that we have not understand the market, how it goes, how it works, we remain to be that liquidity. And who are these people that are using us as liquidity, eating us as food? They are known as the institutionals. Who are these institutionals? These institutionals are the people that controls the market, the banks. If you don't know, you have to know it now, that the banks are also traders. They trade in large quantity. The institutionals are the hedge fund. We call them the big boys. They are the people that controls the market. These are the set of people that if they decide to withdraw their money from a particular stock today, a particular pair today, indices today, that commodity, that pair, that stock will immediately crash. That stock will have a showdown, will fall. These are the institutionals. It is their money that moves the market. So they decide what happens in the market. Their presence counts in this market. So what do? The institutionals, they relax, they pay attention on the market and calm down, wait for us, we that they consider to be their liquidity. They will wait for us to approach the market. When we approach the market, when they on their own side, when they discover that we are fully in the market, this is when they walk in. They walk inside them, they come into the market whenever they notice that we the retail traders, that we have fully engaged in the market. This is when the institutions come into the market. Then what they come to do? They come to eat us as food. They come to use us to 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 fuel up their cars before continuing their movement. We are just like a fuel station where they go to refill their tanks before continue their long journey. That is why they always, where we are is where they pay close attention to. They cannot do without us because they need us to survive. Now I'm going to use one example to illustrate this diagram. We call them the big fishes. We call them the sharks. Now, if you have been watching Net Geo Wide recently, you will notice that the sharks and the whales, these big creatures in the sea, fed on the little tiny fishes, which is known as the sclumbias, the shiners, the sardines. The sharks and the whales fed on these little creatures in the sea. And when they feed on these little creatures, that is how they survive. And the little creatures, we are the little creatures in the sea. I'm trying to illustrate this market so that you understand how it works. These little sardines, bears, and the shiner, we are the people. We are the sardines. We are the little fishes. And the sharks feed on us to survive. And we also feed on their remains. On their remains. We feed on their remains. When the sharks feed, the little remains that drops out of their mouth, the remains, the leftovers, their leftovers, that is what we, the retail trader, fed on. That is why we always follow the institutional footprint in the market. We always target the institutional move. We call it the displacement move, the displacement candle, the impulse move. We always stick to those impulse. Those impulse are the institutional footprints. Those impulse move are the institutional move, are the shark, the movement of the shark. Where the shark fed on previously, that is where we are going to feed. The leftovers, that is where we feed. Now, if we are going to feed from the FVG, the fair value gap that was created during the aggressive movement of the institutional move, during the impulse movement, that FVG that was created, we call it the institutional aggression. An FVG created by the institutional aggression. This is where we feed. Some of our retail traders trade it as FVG fill. That is why whenever you are watching the market, if you are watching the price action, when an FVG was created by the aggression of the institutional move, which is an impulse move, or you can call it a displacement move that broke structure, that gave a shift in market structure. When an FVG was created there, an imbalance was created there, price will always go back, to fill up that imbalance. And if you are monitoring the price action, whenever price get to that FVG, that first step to that FVG must have a fast rejection. This is where we feed, or we will feed on the other blocks. The last bearish candle before the bullish impulsive move, or the last bullish candle before the bearish impulsive move. We feed on those areas because this is an institutional move. This is the movement of the big boys. This is the movement of the shark. These are the remains from the institutional. The remains from the shark is where we, the retailers, feed on. It's where the shiner, the Columbia, the sardines feed on. And whenever we are feeding on those remains, we also have to be very skeptical, smart, to watch well, because we so that we will not turn to be that food. We will not turn to be that liquidity immediately. That is why when you are watching a shark moving on the ocean, you will notice that there are some small fishes on the side wings and on the tail following the sharks. They are following the sharks to grab a meal, squeeze the meal, eat the meal, and they will be fast to be grabbing those leftovers from the sharks feeding, from the sharks remain. And whenever they are feeding on those leftovers, they are very smart. Their eyes is anti-clock. Their eyes are on anti-clockwise, so that the shark will not turn to feed on them immediately. That is why when we retailers are not smart enough to know our level, our stay, to know where we belong on the market, we will turn out to be the liquidity. The sharks will turn to eat us immediately, to feed on us. And we notice that sometimes when the shark is moving, and they notice that those tiny fishes are following are on its tail and its wings, it will immediately turn to attack them. But it is hardly for the shark to get them sometimes, because they are also smart. This is when we follow the when we trade SMC, and we are smart to feed on the remains of the SMC, which is we are smart to trade on the FVG that was created by the institutional move. We call it the aggressive move that left an imbalance. Some pick their entry on those FVG, while some pick their entry on the other blocks. So now on the previous day high, when price sweep off those liquidity before going down to its direction, for we retail traders, if we are not able to join the institutionals after grabbing the liquidity, what are we going to do? We will stand by to wait to make sure that institutional move, that displacement move by the big boys, by the sharks, we give us what we call a market structure shift. That is how everybody call their own. You can call it a change of character. Some can call it a break of structure. You must make sure that it breaks structure. But remember, break of structure is different from change of character. Break of structure is when price is breaking structure on the same direction. But a change of character is when price breaks structure against a particular direction. So we must make sure that we wait for that movement to break a structure, either on the current direction or against the direction. Then that is when we have our confirmation that yes, this market has given us a shift in market structure. And then what are we going to do next? We will watch to see if that market gave us an FVG. If it created an imbalance, then when it created an imbalance, the FVG traders will then wait for that price to return. After the distribution has been made, the FVG traders will wait for that price to return to that FVG so that they will pick their entry there. Also remember that FVG is also a liquidity trap. A liquidity, because sometimes price will get to that FVG, react, pull back, reject fastly, and the retail traders, once price reject immediately after getting to that, after tapping to that FVG, we have grabbed our own income. This is our remains. This is the remains that was left by the shark during feeding. We have grabbed our own. So if you are not that fast enough to grab your own and exit the market on time, price might decided to fill up that FV, come back and fill up that FVG complete, and to tap on the other block, which is the origin of that displacement that caused that FVG, which is the other block. Price might decide to go to that other block before continuing its movement. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. You can give a like, follow for more. There are more to come, but I think on today's episode, we have to stop here. And if you need more confirmation or more clarity, you can drop a like and follow, and comment where you did not understand correctly, or correct where you are having challenges, so that we will dig on it, and we will learn together, grow, and we will practice, learn, and grow together. So thank you all for listening. Once again, you are welcome to God Gift FS Education. This is a page where we learn, we practice, and grow. One love.